Hello, this is Yvonne. I'm recording a little bit of something we were assigned to do this week in our critical making class for the Design Master's Program at CU Boulder. The assignment for this week was to understand JavaScript, at least superficially. For the purposes of design, we don't need to become programmers or coders, but we need to know where to get the information we're looking for. And so we were to choose a couple of websites. I chose Woof, which allows you to travel to different farms, organic farms, in mostly North America, to volunteer in exchange for room and board. So I looked at the Contact Us webpage and pulled out a couple of things that I could identify and then tried to explain what they were for. So the first thing I found was a language tab here. You could have a look. You could translate this page into various languages thanks to the Facebook translator page. And for that, it needed HTML for the text purposes and then JavaScript to make it interactive. I also found a jQuery library, and the W3 Schools defines that as the ability to write less and do more. So the jQuery library makes it much easier to use JavaScript for a website. It simplifies things such that you could write a single line of code to do a whole lot. Specifically, this library was in this part here, we can see that it's using jQuery, but also UI, so user interface, and CSS altogether. And so the idea is the UI component is, of course, to bring into play effects, widgets, and themes that allow your text to be much more interactive. There's also a jQuery autocomplete in here, so when you're filling out forms, there's one with a calendar when you click on that autocompletes the dates and the days of the week, presumably. And then there's also a tool tipster, which is a little further down here, which is using HTML markup inside your tooltips that allows you to insert images and format tags, again, to make it much easier for the person writing the code. Then I went on to Estes Park. We were there this weekend. And by mistake, really, we ran into the Elk Fest, which meant that everything took twice as long, and there were elk running around town every which way. So in this section here, I looked around elements, but also a little bit deeper into networks, and I found JavaScript plugins, specifically in the events calendar, to show special events like the Elk Fest and then the Christmas Parade, amongst others. I noticed, although it may not be part of the assignment, Hotjar at the very bottom here, and that's something we looked at in class 2 to manage the users. Where is it here? Hotjar. It's essentially a heat map of a website, so you can look at where, on the back end, you can look at where users are clicking, how far down the page they're coming, based on sort of a heat map style visualization. And it helps people understand who are building the website what is most popular. There's also a jQuery migrate option here, which is essentially down here. Specifically, it's a development tool to help migrate away from APIs and features that have been or will be removed by the jQuery core. So presumably this is a small tool that helps you bridge between the old and the new. I found JSON, which is JavaScript non-object notation. It's called a text written with JavaScript object notation. It's syntax for storing and exchanging data. So essentially, it's another tool, or you could say a conveyor of data here. I saw that right in here. When exchanging data between a browser and a server, the data can only be text. So to me, this looks like a special way of writing code so that it can speak to the server and the website. I also noticed somewhere down here analytics.js as a way to measure the user interaction with the website, very much suggested in the name. And so this was very much an overview of JavaScript. It's really just inspecting what I recognize and what it's used for, to better understand how things are programmed from the to benefit the user and the design of the product, and to understand what need is being met. So I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Have a good night.